we hear more and more about the science of creation, we understand how little we know and how much fallacy we have accepted. We consider ourselves to be the decision makers of our physicality, but in fact, the decision maker of our physicality is our soul. We are a puppet in the hand of our soul. We make decisions, we do things which to do with the food, and we exist in it with the dimension of physicality. That's the job of our physical condition. We go and look for water, we go and look for shelter, we go and look for something to give us energy to sustain this physical body. But the master, the soul of the man, sits behind. How it creates destiny for the physicality to be in a position, then the physicality has to follow that to be in the position which the soul has agreed to be present in the continuation of expansion of interaction of the souls of the man. We call it accidentally I happened to be there, and accidentally I saw this and that, and accidentally it could have been by chance. Oh, something else, I happened to be there, and I happen to do this. We have created words which we don't understand for the operation of the soul of the man to bring the physicality in position where it needs to be. It's like you tell someone we're going for a blind birthday party, so you bring the birthday boy, but he doesn't know it's coming to the party, as we spoke before. So, in a way, the soul of the man with the soul of the mother has agreed to meet the mother in such a place. So, the physicality through connection with the soul of physicality makes sure that the physical condition is there to deliver, to bring the interaction of the souls for certain purposes. And then later on we understand why we were there, why we met the mother at that point in time, because the souls have decided for your soul and the soul of the mother to learn something from interaction of the future interaction of the souls. So in a way, we are running forces at the same time. The horse of physicality we think we are in charge of, and the soul of the man, which itself with interaction with other souls come to guide and bring the soul of physicality for it to be there, to bring the physicality to deliver the promise and agreement between the souls. We call it revenge. We call it the condition that he did something and now that's the payment for it. He did something wrong and he deserves this. We have found different interactions or voices or noises or communication line to explain what we don't understand, the connection between the soul of the man, the soul of physicality of the man and the man in the physical dimension. And in that process, we need now to understand this, that why did I turn up in such a place to see such a thing, and what's the outcome in the future for what I've done? What was the purpose of me being there? 50% of our lives, maybe more of it, is fulfilling the commitment of the soul to the others, other souls, for the physicality to be. Even if you get lost in the desert, there is a commitment to the soul of the others. Even if you get drowned in the ocean, there is still a commitment to the other souls. It's not just that you're drowned. It's that process has caused other souls to bring other physicalities to the position they've done right or wrong to be in. It's not just a funeral we go to. It's what comes in that process after funeral, the souls which have been set to come into, to deliver to, and to comply with the total agreement of the souls. A child becomes an orphan. Somebody loses a son, somebody gains a son. Why are we born in such a moment, such a day, such a second? What would have been the effect of it on the parents or grandparents if you were born a week before or 2 weeks later? Then we come to understand that now we have to accept, not only accept, understand. The full comprehension of the time, place, and position is dictated by interaction of the souls, and interaction of the soul of physicality with the physicality of the man in communication with the soul. It's a ever, never lasting blind dates. Turning up, call it by chance, accidentally, and the rest. But in fact, it was already set up. But you were blindsided. You could not see, you could not understand that what your grandfather did, what your great-grandfather did, what your mother did, what your brother did, and in that consequence, with the agreement of the souls, you're balancing the field. You're not paying back. Have you ever seen a magnet jumping and going somewhere else, hitting something else? It just keeps a distance. It creates a condition. So for us as a human race, in the physicality of the body of the man, this is what we have to understand. That our physical existence, 80% of the time, we think we do everything. We are in charge. We put the suit on, we put the shoes on. 8 o'clock, we're on the train. 9 o'clock, we are in the office. We come back 10 o'clock, having a coffee, and then 5 o'clock on the train back home. We control everything. Oh boy, how misguided the man has been. The soul of the man uses those times which you think your clockwork on the same train, the same time every week for a whole year. It plans your time for the interaction of the souls in that time bracket. So the soul of physicality and the soul of the man plan your day internally, what needs to be done, that it brings the balance in. Most of the repetition, magnets don't move. When there is an external force, when there is something done wrong with another soul, and then soul has to do it, oh, accidentally go out and you have a car crash during the lunchtime. Oh boy, this was not supposed to happen. But this exactly was supposed to happen because there are other sequences, other effects, other dimensions to this accident, which was set up by the souls for those, for you, and for the others to come in the position of what was done wrong or what was to be corrected. Then, in a simple way, you understand how the prophets promise there'll be such a messenger in so many years and so many centuries and so many decades, and he will do this and that. It's the guy himself changing the clothes, appearing in the same place because he's already set all the souls through the effect of his own operation to be ready for that. And then he appears and manifests himself. Resurrection of the soul over 2000 years. But in fact, in this 2000 years, he's preparing other souls for it to be ready, that when he comes, say, oh, this is the one which was promised. So, if you understand this, you can plan with the correct conduct of the soul of physicality, the future of your soul, the operation of your soul, where it will be, what it will do, what kind of stars will be when it leaves the point of physicality. And that mankind comes to be understanding he's not very kind to himself, even though he claims to be kind to everybody else. What would be, if you understand this position fully, and what would be, what would bring all of us, if this point and this part of the totality was fully understood. Would a man commit a crime again? Would a man shall kill again? Would a man go out of his way to create mayhem in every direction and possibilities? Would the life of the man becomes bearable by living of the man in conjunction between the soul of physicality and the soul of the man? Something happens, or some accident happened. But the truth is, what can I learn from it? What was my soul? What was my physicality? My soul of physicality was trying to teach me that causes the elevation of my soul in the next step, that I don't put a step wrong. Not just, oh, something happened and carry on. How do and where do in the system that the soul of the man communicates with soul of physicality? On which bandwidth? On which structure? On totality of understanding the structure of physicality of the man, the different emotions are settled, compacted. We find the fraction of the total energy which is released by the soul in friction with the cell of body of the man creates certain knowledge, certain information, which the what we call soul of the man has full control of. Don't forget, you never studied French. You have no clue what monsieur means or whatever in the language. But the soul of the man has been to the Universal University, knows everything, and according to the time and place, can use that to speak French, to understand the emotion of the Frenchman without speaking a word. Because in emotion level, everything is the same. Then comes the point, what do I need to know about the emotions? My emotion. And is the emotion the same amongst all of us? Today's teaching is more or less for you to know yourself, to understand the connection between the soul of physicality and the soul of the man. The operation of physical body of the man, even though you think you are fully in charge, you are carrying out the order and the wishes of the soul. And if you understand you're forever servant to the master, which is the soul of the man, which is the, in a way, wanting the better life for the life of the man in a box, has appeared and will appear again and again. What's the limitation to this? There are no limitations. What's the understanding in this process for us? The process explains something simple. From now on, look at both sides of the dimension of physicality and the dimension of the soul. Why did I say this word, which I can't even remember ever using it? Why did I show this affection to my child where in public I never show? Then the answer comes, is man who interferes directly out of fear of his own existence in the dimension of physicality that creates all this mayhem for the rest of mankind.